What if I told you that the most significant breakthrough of your life is just one decision away? And that decision is to stop looking left and right and start looking inward. Imagine a year where you are no longer competing with others, where every step forward is determined by your desires, your growth, and your purpose, not anyone else's. The power of self-investment lies at the heart of personal growth and transformation. It is the commitment to channel time, energy, and resources into your own development, mentally, emotionally, and physically. While the world encourages us to focus outward on achievements, relationships, or societal expectations, true fulfillment begins within. Self-investment isn't a selfish act. It's a necessary foundation for living a meaningful and impactful life. When you prioritize yourself, you unlock a level of potential that often goes unnoticed in the chaos of daily life. It starts with understanding that you are your most valuable asset. Consider this: you would never expect a tree to flourish without water or sunlight. Similarly, you cannot grow or thrive if you don't nurture yourself. This means dedicating time to understanding your strengths, identifying areas for improvement, and seeking opportunities to evolve. Whether it's through education, skill building, or cultivating healthier habits, self-investment provides the tools you need to navigate life with confidence. The first step in self-investment is awareness, acknowledging where you are and where you want to go. It's about taking a step back from distractions and focusing on your goals and aspirations. This can be challenging in a world that constantly demands your attention, but it is also the most empowering decision you can make. By focusing inward, you gain clarity about your purpose and priorities. You learn to distinguish between what truly matters to you and what is simply noise. Another aspect of self-investment is embracing growth over perfection. Too often, people delay action because they fear failure or imperfection. But self-investment isn't about being perfect, it's about progress. It's about recognizing that every small step forward compounds into significant change over time. For example, dedicating 30 minutes a day to learning a new skill might seem insignificant initially, but over a year, it could transform your career or broaden your horizons in ways you never imagined. Equally important is the investment in mental and emotional well-being. In a world where burnout is glorified and constant productivity is celebrated, taking time to recharge is often overlooked. Self-investment involves setting boundaries, practicing self-care, and prioritizing your mental health. It's about recognizing that your well-being isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. A well-balanced mind enables you to handle challenges more effectively and make better decisions, which ultimately benefits not just you, but also those around you. Investing in yourself also means seeking out experiences and opportunities that align with your values and passions. This might involve attending workshops, networking with like-minded individuals, or simply dedicating time to hobbies that bring you joy. The key is to approach these activities not as indulgences, but as essential components of a fulfilling life. Ultimately, self-investment creates a ripple effect. When you prioritize your growth and well-being, you inspire others to do the same. You become a source of positivity and purpose in your community. More importantly, you build a life that is deeply rooted in authenticity and self-respect. This is the true power of self-investment. It not only transforms you, but also elevates the world around you. Comparison is the thief of joy. It's a phrase many have heard, but few fully understand the depth of its impact. In a world where social media, societal standards, and even personal expectations constantly push us to measure our lives against others, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparison. The problem is, every time we do, we rob ourselves of the satisfaction and contentment that comes from focusing on our own journey. When you compare yourself to others, you instantly diminish the value of your own accomplishments. Instead of celebrating how far you've come, you begin to measure your progress against someone else's, and this often leads to feelings of inadequacy. It's as if the uniqueness of your path, the very experiences, lessons, and growth that make your journey yours, becomes irrelevant because it doesn't align with someone else's. We forget that everyone's story is different, and just because someone is ahead in one area of life doesn't mean we're falling behind. Comparison also fosters a mindset of scarcity. It tricks us into believing that there's only a limited amount of success, happiness, or resources available, and that if someone else is excelling, there's less left for us. This is far from the truth. The success of others does not diminish your own potential, and their achievements don't take away from what you can accomplish. In fact, comparing yourself to someone else only undermines your ability to focus on your own potential. The constant act of comparing can also distort reality. Social media, in particular, is notorious for creating an illusion of perfection. People often showcase the best moments of their lives, editing and curating their experiences to fit a narrative of success. The curated highlight reel we see online rarely reveals the full picture, the struggles, failures, and quiet moments that are part of every success story. Yet, when we compare ourselves to these snapshots, we hold ourselves to unrealistic standards and create a distorted sense of what success should look like. This perpetuates an endless cycle of dissatisfaction. Perhaps one of the most dangerous effects of comparison is how it impacts our self-worth. When we base our value on how we measure up to others, we risk losing sight of what makes us unique and valuable. We begin to define ourselves not by our own abilities, achievements, or qualities, but by the successes of others. This undermines our confidence and self-esteem, as we feel unworthy if we aren't meeting the same standards as those around us. We forget that self-worth is intrinsic and cannot be based on an external benchmark. It's not about being better than someone else, it's about being the best version of yourself. The truth is, there will always be someone who seems to have more, do more, or be more in some area of life. But that doesn't take away from your own growth and success. When you stop comparing and start focusing on your own journey, you free yourself from the burden of competition. You give yourself permission to grow at your own pace, to celebrate your small wins, and to learn from your mistakes without fear of judgment. Comparison may feel like an instinctive, automatic response, but is ultimately a disservice to your happiness. It keeps you trapped in a cycle of inadequacy, constantly chasing an ideal that isn't even your own. The key to joy is to shift focus inward, to appreciate your path and recognize that your worth isn't determined by how you stack up against anyone else. When you free yourself from comparison, you open the door to contentment, self-acceptance, and authentic fulfillment. Clarity through purpose is the compass that guides us toward a fulfilling and meaningful life. Without a clear sense of purpose, life can feel like a series of disconnected events, leaving us uncertain about our direction, unmotivated, and constantly searching for meaning. Purpose, on the other hand, acts as a stabilizing force, providing us with the clarity we need to make decisions, pursue goals, and navigate challenges with confidence. At the heart of clarity through purpose is the ability to know what you truly want in life. This requires deep self-awareness, an honest examination of your passions, values, and strengths. Too often, people live their lives based on the expectations of others, chasing goals that may seem right on the surface, but don't resonate with their inner desires. They pursue careers, relationships, or lifestyles that align with society's definitions of success, only to feel unfulfilled because they haven't defined what success looks like for themselves. Having a clear sense of purpose helps you break free from external pressures and focus on what genuinely matters to you. When you are aligned with your purpose, every decision, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity to move closer to your goals. Whether it's choosing a career path, building relationships, or spending your time, purpose gives you the clarity to know what aligns with your values and what doesn't. It serves as a filter for making decisions that honor who you are and what you want to achieve in life. Clarity through purpose also fuels motivation. It's easy to feel lost or unmotivated when you don't have a clear direction, especially when faced with challenges or setbacks. However, when you know why you are doing something, it becomes easier to stay committed. Purpose is the energy that drives us forward, even in difficult times. It gives us the resilience to push through obstacles and the strength to overcome the fear of failure. When the path ahead seems unclear, purpose illuminates the way and helps us keep moving forward with intention and focus. Furthermore, clarity through purpose fosters a sense of fulfillment. The pursuit of purpose-driven goals brings satisfaction that transcends temporary pleasures. Unlike external validation, which can be fleeting, living in alignment with your purpose leads to deep, lasting contentment. This fulfillment comes not from achieving arbitrary milestones or gaining approval from others, but from the inner knowing that you are living authentically and making progress towards something meaningful to you. Another benefit of clarity through purpose is its ability to eliminate distractions. In today's fast-paced world, we are constantly bombarded with information, choices, and opportunities. many of which may pull us away from our true path. With a clear sense of purpose, however, distractions lose their power. You become more discerning with how you spend your time, energy, and resources. You learn to say no to things that don't align with your purpose, freeing yourself from the overwhelm and confusion that often arises from juggling too many competing interests. This focused attention allows you to achieve more with less effort and greater satisfaction. Living with clarity through purpose also leads to a sense of coherence. Life no longer feels like a series of unrelated events or responsibilities. Instead, everything begins to make sense as part of a greater whole. Work becomes more than just a job. It becomes a way to contribute to something meaningful. Relationships are no longer just about socializing. They become a source of support for your growth. Each part of your life supports and reinforces the others, creating a sense of harmony and balance. Ultimately, clarity through purpose isn't just about achieving external goals. It's about aligning your life with what truly matters to you. It's about living intentionally and making choices that are in harmony with your values and vision. When you know your purpose, life becomes clearer, more focused, and infinitely more rewarding. The discipline of saying no is one of the most powerful tools we have in taking control of our time, energy, and overall well-being. In a world that often values busyness and constant engagement, learning to say no is an essential skill for maintaining focus, prioritizing what truly matters, and protecting our mental and emotional health. It's not just about turning down requests or opportunities. It's about creating space for what aligns with our goals and values. This is how you figure out the difference between bad and excellent. This is how you figure out what's safe or what's easy, and this is how you figure out what's... Saying no isn't easy. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that saying yes is a sign of being helpful, reliable, or likable. We fear disappointing others, missing out on opportunities, or feeling left out. But the reality is that saying yes to everything spreads us thin, drains our energy, and often leaves us with little time for the things that truly matter. In fact, every time we say yes to something that doesn't align with our goals or values, we are saying no to something else, usually our own needs, well-being, or personal growth. The key to saying no lies in understanding what is truly important to you. When you are clear about your priorities and what you want to focus on, it becomes easier to discern which requests or opportunities are worth your time and energy. Without this clarity, it's easy to get caught up in the habit of pleasing others or filling every moment with activities that don't move you toward your goals. Saying no is not about being selfish, it's about being intentional with your time and energy. It's about choosing to invest in what truly contributes to your well-being and growth. The discipline of saying no also helps create healthier boundaries. In personal and professional relationships, boundaries are vital for maintaining respect, balance, and self-respect. When we fail to establish boundaries, we risk being overwhelmed by others' needs or expectations. Saying no is a way to protect your time, energy, and peace. It's a way to communicate that your needs matter and that you cannot be everything to everyone. Healthy boundaries allow you to give your best to the things and people that truly matter without compromising your own well-being. Additionally, saying no is a powerful form of self-care. In our fast-paced, demanding world, it's easy to neglect our own needs in favor of meeting the demands of others. Whether it's taking on additional work, attending social events that don't bring us joy, or committing to projects that drain us, saying yes when we really need to say no can lead to burnout, resentment, and stress. By saying no, we honor our need for rest, reflection, and time to recharge. This is not just a luxury, it's a necessity for maintaining long-term productivity, happiness, and mental clarity. Saying no is also an act of personal growth. It requires confidence, self-awareness, and the courage to prioritize your own needs over external pressures. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking approval from others or avoiding confrontation, but the more you practice saying no, the more you realize that it is a form of self-respect, not rejection. Saying no allows you to make room for the things that bring you joy, fulfillment, and progress toward your goals. The discipline of saying no also allows us to be more intentional with our time and energy. Instead of filling every moment with tasks or commitments, we can focus on what is most important, whether that's working on a personal project, spending time with loved ones, or simply taking care of ourselves. In doing so, we are able to give our full attention and effort to the things that align with our purpose and values, rather than being distracted or stretched too thin. This focused approach leads to greater satisfaction, achievement, and peace of mind. Ultimately, the discipline of saying no is about taking control of your life. It's about recognizing that your time and energy are precious and that you have the power to choose how they are spent. Saying no is not about shutting down opportunities or closing yourself off from others. It's about saying yes to the things that truly matter and allowing yourself to fully invest in them. By saying no when necessary, you make room for the opportunities, relationships, and experiences that are truly aligned with your purpose and vision for your life. Growth over perfection is a mindset that encourages us to focus on progress rather than striving for an unattainable standard of flawlessness. In a society that often equates success with perfection, this mindset can be a radical shift. Yet, embracing growth over perfection is one of the most freeing and empowering ways to live. It allows us to accept ourselves as works in progress and to honor the journey, rather than being paralyzed by the fear of not being good enough. Perfectionism, by its very nature, is unattainable. It sets an impossible standard that often leads to frustration, anxiety, and self-doubt. The pursuit of perfection can keep us from starting or finishing tasks because we're constantly worried about the outcome. We may overanalyze every decision, obsess over every detail, or delay taking action because we're waiting for the perfect moment or result. But perfection doesn't exist in the real world. There will always be imperfections, setbacks, and uncertainties along the way. When we focus on perfection, we miss the opportunity to embrace those imperfections as part of the learning process and personal growth. Growth, on the other hand, is about progress, learning, and becoming better, even if that means making mistakes along the way. It's about taking action no matter how imperfect it may seem, and recognizing that each step forward, no matter how small, contributes to a bigger transformation. Growth is not linear, and it doesn't require us to be perfect. It simply requires us to show up, do the work, and learn from the experience. The more we embrace growth over perfection, the more we open ourselves to new opportunities and the possibility of improvement. The fear of imperfection often holds us back from taking risks or pursuing new challenges. We might hesitate to start something because we feel we won't do it perfectly, or we might avoid putting ourselves out there because we're afraid of making mistakes. But mistakes are not failures. They are stepping stones to progress. Each mistake carries a lesson that teaches us how to do things differently next time. The more we shift our focus from perfection to growth, the more we begin to appreciate the value of learning through trial and error. This shift allows us to move forward with greater confidence and resilience because we know that setbacks are part of the process, not a reflection of our abilities. Focusing on growth also allows us to build a deeper sense of self-compassion. Perfectionism often leads to harsh self-criticism. We may find ourselves judging our every action, feeling disappointed in ourselves when things don't go as planned, or comparing ourselves to others who seem to have it all figured out. But when we focus on growth, we start to embrace our imperfections and accept ourselves as we are, flaws and all. We recognize that we are on our own unique journey, and we are allowed to learn, stumble, and grow at our own pace. This self-compassion leads to a healthier relationship with ourselves and fosters a more positive, encouraging environment for personal growth. Moreover, the pursuit of growth over perfection allows us to celebrate the small wins. Perfectionism can overshadow our accomplishments because we tend to focus only on what isn't right yet or what still needs to be done. But when we shift our focus to growth, we begin to appreciate the progress we've made. Every small achievement, whether it's mastering a new skill, overcoming a fear, or completing a project, becomes a reason to celebrate. These small wins add up over time, and they are what ultimately lead to significant transformation. When we choose growth over perfection, we also give ourselves permission to take imperfect action. This means moving forward with our ideas, even when they're not fully polished, and trusting that progress will come with time and effort. It means putting our work out into the world, even if it's not perfect, because we understand that it's better to take imperfect action than to wait indefinitely for everything to align perfectly. This approach helps us build momentum, gain feedback, and refine our skills, which leads to even greater growth. Ultimately, growth over perfection is about accepting that the journey is just as important as the destination. It's about letting go of the need to be perfect and allowing ourselves the freedom to evolve, make mistakes, and learn. By focusing on growth, we give ourselves permission to be imperfect, to embrace challenges, and to continue moving forward with courage and curiosity. Celebrating your uniqueness is about recognizing and embracing what sets you apart from everyone else. In a world that often pressures us to fit in, conform to societal standards, or follow the crowd, celebrating our individuality can feel like an act of rebellion. But it's also an act of self-respect, self-love, and personal empowerment. When we celebrate our uniqueness, we honor our authentic selves and acknowledge the value that we bring to the world in our own distinct way. From a young age, many of us are taught to compare ourselves to others. We are bombarded with images of how we should look, act, or succeed based on external standards. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy, insecurity, and even self-doubt. We might try to change parts of ourselves in order to fit in or seek validation from others. However, the truth is that our uniqueness is not something to be hidden or modified. It's something to be celebrated. Our differences, whether in personality, appearance, abilities, or interests, are what make us interesting, valuable, and essential to the fabric of the world. When we celebrate our uniqueness, we embrace all the qualities that make us who we are, even the parts that might not align with mainstream expectations. Perhaps you are an introvert in a world that praises extroversion, or maybe you have unconventional ideas that challenge the status quo. These qualities don't make you lesser, they make you extraordinary. The world needs people who think differently, act differently, and express themselves differently. By celebrating your uniqueness, you contribute to a diverse and vibrant world where people are free to be their true selves without fear of judgment or rejection. Celebrating your uniqueness also means recognizing and honoring your strengths. We all have something that we do well, something that comes naturally to us, or something we've worked hard to develop. Often, we downplay our own abilities, focusing instead on what others are good at, or comparing ourselves to those who seem more accomplished. But when we celebrate our strengths, we acknowledge the value we bring to the world. Whether it's creativity, problem solving, empathy, or leadership, your talents are part of what makes you unique, and they are meant to be shared with others. By fully embracing your strengths, you not only enhance your own life, but also inspire and uplift those around you. On the flip side, celebrating your uniqueness also involves accepting and embracing your imperfections. Nobody is perfect, and that's okay. Our flaws are part of what makes us human, and they give us the opportunity to grow, learn, and become better versions of ourselves. When we try to hide or deny our imperfections, we limit our ability to fully experience life. But when we accept them and celebrate our entire selves, flaws and all, we give ourselves permission to grow without the pressure of being flawless. This acceptance leads to greater self-compassion and a more authentic connection with others. Moreover, celebrating your uniqueness means not being afraid to stand out. It's easy to feel the pressure to blend in and avoid attention, especially when we fear rejection or judgment. But in doing so, we often stifle our true selves. The beauty of embracing our uniqueness is that it allows us to stand in our truth, to speak up for what we believe in, and to express our individuality without apology. The people who've made the biggest impact in the world are often those who dared to be different, to challenge the norms, and to celebrate their own perspectives. Your voice, your ideas, and your perspective matter, and they deserve to be heard. In a society that often promotes conformity, it's easy to forget how important it is to celebrate our individuality. But when we do, we create space for others to do the same. Celebrating your uniqueness doesn't just benefit you, it creates a ripple effect that encourages others to embrace their own differences. It fosters a culture of acceptance, inclusivity, and self-expression, where people feel free to be who they are without fear of judgment. Ultimately, celebrating your uniqueness is about honoring your story, your experiences, and your essence. It's about recognizing that you are enough, just as you are, and that your unique qualities are valuable not just to you, but to the world. When we celebrate our individuality, we stop trying to fit into someone else's mold and instead create our own. By doing so, we enrich our own lives and the lives of those around us. Your uniqueness is not something to be hidden, something to be embraced, celebrated, and shared with the world. In conclusion, celebrating your uniqueness is not just about embracing what sets you apart, but about recognizing the immense value of your individuality. By choosing to honor your authentic self, you free yourself from the constraints of comparison, perfectionism, and societal expectations. You give yourself permission to grow, evolve, and express your true essence in all its forms. Strengths, flaws, and everything in between. Your uniqueness is your power, and when you embrace it, you not only create a more fulfilling life for yourself, but also inspire others to do the same. The world needs more of what makes you, you. So celebrate it boldly, unapologetically, and with the knowledge that your individuality contributes to the beauty and diversity of the world around you.